Asia Wilson just made the cover of Time magazine. Is she as extraordinary as they say so? Let's talk about it. Time magazine just released the 13 most extraordinary women in the world, who are all leaders trying to make a more equal and better place. Asia Wilson happened to be one of those women. Link in the description. Actually, a really dope timepiece. A lot of recognizable faces on there, man. You guys definitely should check it out because Nicole Kidman on there, Olivia Munn. I mean, pretty dope stuff. So Asia was featured with Jordan Childs, and Asia, she seems to always have a little more to say than she probably should, because I feel like some of the things that she's talking about in this timepiece are self-inflicted. Let's talk about it. So Time put out this article, which I'm not going to cover in its entirety, but there was a few key moments that just jumped out at me, and it really got me thinking. If you guys don't know about Jordan Childs, she won the bronze medal for floor exercise. Well, it was pretty controversial because initially she didn't win the medal. And when she was reviewing her scorecard, she realized that the points didn't add up. So she challenged. The judges scuffed up her card and she was awarded the medal. Well, the gymnast that won the medal, or that was awarded it, because of the false points, challenged Jordan's challenge, stating that she didn't do it within the time frame. So it was a big mess. It was super controversial, and you guys should probably go look that up because that was just a mess in itself. But they were asked about this specific moment. And so Jordan, this is what Jordan had to say. She was very sweet. At the beginning it was hard. It was something that I had to just push through and see where it would go. I'm in college now and I have the ability to perform my life at UCLA. People are always coming up to me and just being like, "You're always gonna be loved." I mean, how it doesn't get any sweeter than that, right? But and of course, she can't talk about the specifics of the case because it's still like under investigation. It's still open, and so she can't say anything. But Asia Wilson, she decides she's definitely gonna say something. And this is what Asia had to say. "Stop playing with me. What kind of question is that? Yes, it's a no-brainer. And I was pissed. Honestly, I prayed for you. I know those moments are hard. And here I go, about to cry. You worked your ass off to get that. I really prayed. Not only because you're my friend, but because I see you. I understand you. And it may look different because we're in different sports, but you're fully equipped. And God's always gonna have you no matter what. And that's gonna be my clean version, because the other version," and Jordan says, "I already got the other version." To me, when she says, "I understand you, and it may look different because we're in different sports," says, I know what it feels like to be robbed. It's still screaming out, "Me, me, me." Because at the end of the day, even though Asia has been recognized as the best player in the dub, and there is no doubt this woman dominates. She go out there and just scores buckets all night. But she's still mad. She's still mad, and she feels some type of way. Like, that's crazy. So Asia was then, they were giving her flowers. Asia was the first player to hit 1,000 points in a season. Huge kudos, man. I mean, that is fire. Kudos to the girl. Round of applause. Asia ballin'. She's a monster on the court. But this is what she was asked. After the game, you gave a speech to your teammates. In the locker room, you said there are times that you hate being Asia Wilson. Later, you specified that you were talking about some of the challenges that come with being a black player in the league. Can you take me back to that moment? And since then, how has it felt to have that sentiment out in the world? And this is what Asia had to say. Being a professional athlete, people assume that you're supposed to be this perfect human being. You have no worries. Why are you even complaining? You have this beautiful life. When they fail to realize that we're still human and things hurt my feelings, I needed my teammates to understand that there are days where they may see me and they're like, that's our captain. But there are days where I'm faking it because I know that I have to show up for them. There's days where I'm struggling. It's moments where no matter how hard you work, it still feels like you're not getting the recognition. It feels like somebody got something to say. I think players were super outspoken all season long. And because of the mass amounts of eyes that are now on the sport, fans are relentless, absolutely relentless. And if you allow them to get under your skin and you engage with them, that causes a whole nother issue. And I don't think that players were really ready for that. I don't think they were at all. Because there's always going to be someone that has something to say, right? Whether it's social media, the news, content creators, fans, there's always going to be someone that has their opinion and they're going to voice them regardless of if it's positive or if it's negative, and that's just the way the world works, unfortunately. Asia goes on to say, I needed them to understand that they helped me in more ways than they'll ever know. It's hard showing up every day wearing this crown. It's heavy. It gets extremely heavy. But at the same time, I'm gonna fix it. Make sure it's straight. And I'm gonna go ahead and do my work. I hate that it came out in tears because people are like, oh, girls are always crying, but it's real. My whole point that I wanted to get across is one, mental health is important. If your mental health is not in check, you cannot survive in this world. And two, you've got to love on yourself a little bit. That was viral. That kind of was a viral moment. This was Asia showing a little bit of her vulnerable side, right? Like, she is acknowledging that, yeah, mental health is a bitch. Um they definitely get rattled, right? I mean, we seen players getting rattled all year. And it hits different when you're the top dog. And it's almost like she was acknowledging that, hey, I needed my teammates more than you guys know. But unfortunately, that message is a little too late, because she must have been a little bit difficult to deal with, because some of those players ended up leaving, and now she's in a position to where she's going to have to prove to the world that she can ball out and carry a team by herself. And she's more than capable. She is absolutely a force on the court. But this coming season, we're going to see, right? So there's more. There's more. She was then asked about the Dubs savior, Caitlin Clark. And this is what she was asked. Caitlin Clark got some blowback from something that she said in a recent Time story. Essentially, she acknowledged that she has certain privileges as a white player. And this is what Asia had to say. I know Clark got a lot of backlash from that, because obviously we live in a world where they don't want that, and it's exhausting. What really stood out to me about this was it reminded me of the viral clip of Asia having a conversation with Kelsey Plum. And she was basically saying that Kelsey Plum and Paige Beckers have white privilege, and she liked them because they both acknowledge that they have white privilege. And now you got Caitlin Clark coming out and saying that she thinks she has a white privilege. And yet Asia still not happy. So the clip that went viral with Asia and Kelsey was kind of wild and disturbing at the same time. I think once the world seen it, you know that there was going to be a little bit of controversy in their locker room, and sure enough, Kelsey Plum decides to get out of there, right? But this is what Asia had to say in that conversation. Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. If you say, it's not really about me, she knows. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, she's good at basketball, obviously. Like, she understands her privilege. It's like what pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment. That's what Asia said. And I think to a lot of people that was like,
Bruh.
bruh, you kind of racist, bro. Like, you coming off maybe a little bit racist, saying that these girls have white privilege. Like, Kelsey Plum wasn't wasn't like the all-time leading scorer in college before Caitlin Clark. Like, Paige Beckers isn't out there just balling out of control. Like, to me, that is absolutely wild. Then, I she tried to she tried to apologize, which the apology wasn't even like super. It wasn't even like on a main page or anything. It was, but it was kind of like floating around, got deleted, but it was super half-assed. And this is what the apology was. I'm sorry about that. I was really just sharing with KP how I appreciate her and Paige openly uplifting black women in spaces or places where we aren't seen or heard. And I know it takes a lot from them to do that. But it was overlooked because people hear the word privilege, and that's unfortunate. But we shall continue to grow. If this was the first conversation she had with Kelsey Plum, I think a lot of fans would have been like, man, Asia, she's like, she's really, giving her flowers to Kelsey Plum. And I think it would have been perceived a hell of a lot different than the way we all perceived it, right? Like, it's kind of wild. And to me, when we're looking at the bigger picture, it's like, some of these, some of the attacks from like social media, news outlets, fans, content creators about maybe your performance and maybe you don't deserve to be the top dog. Um, you don't get the recognition. Maybe some of that comes from the fact that you aren't recognizing greatness in other players and giving them their flowers because you're always about me, me, me. And that might be a problem. And it might be something that you need to take a step back and say to yourself, I need to work on my mental health because it might be affecting my team. Mental health's important, man. Take care of yourself. I'm Frankie Fingers, your host of the Vibe Sports Talk, and I'm out. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Peace.